Hello, welcome back to my tiny little corner of YouTube where we keep bumping into each other. So today we're going to be doing a little chit chat about crystals. And I haven't staged a whole setup here, or have I? Okay, let's get going. So today we're going to be chatting about crystals and how I like to work with crystals. So yeah, thank you for joining us again. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys, because you know we need them likes and we need them subscriptions. So please do that. Do that now. Stop right now. If you haven't done it, do it. Give it a little. So here we go. Let's start. Let's start with my journey and how I first found crystals. I think I'm relatively new with working and just generally loving crystals. I think I really kind of started to get into flow with them last year. So probably about a year I've been kind of working with them a little bit more intentional. The first crystals I did ever get was back in 2020, it was COVID, and I actually found them on ASOS, and it was the Psychic Sisters. I've just actually been onto their website to make sure that they still exist, and they do, which was kind of dangerous because I just wanted to add a load of things to my basket. They have the nicest kind of sets and they feel very modern. And I mean, let's not lie here, I am in my hippie witchy woo era. However, sometimes I think when you think about crystals, you instantly think of kind of eccentric, possibly middle-aged women having a slight midlife crisis. I like to say I'm just having a spiritual awakening. And I also like to think that working with crystals has really kind of helped me be a little bit more intentional. So yeah, I think that's kind of where my journey started. And then I've been to lots of local shops and festivals and been around them, and I do find them very calming. I don't know if anybody's ever been into a crystal shop, you will walk in and you just instantly feel relaxed. And you can spend hours. It's a little bit like a bookshop. Okay, these are like my two favourite things. So I was trying to be relatable there, but maybe these are just me, I don't know. But bookshops, you know when you go into a bookshop, you just wander around like all day. I mean, there's a reason why there's a Costa in Waterstones. Like, you could just sit in there all day, look at the books, enjoy the books, buy some books, like just generally the whole experience. A crystal store is very much like that. They really should put coffee shops in there. I feel like I'm having a business download right now. Maybe I'm going to have a crystal shop with a coffee shop, probably sell some books in there. I mean, if anybody's already doing that, let me know because I want to go to that store immediately. But it just sounds like, you basically, when you go into a crystal store, it's very healing, it's very grounding, just generally being around them, touching them, picking them up. And people say crystals speak to you, and they really do. And I think that's kind of going to be my biggest takeaway for you is pick the ones you want, enjoy the ones you want. Don't be led too much, even by what I'm going to talk about. This is just my experience of crystals and how I use them. But the whole enjoyment is to kind of play with them and just kind of get into your rhythm with them, and whatever works for you, you'll just kind of find it. Let's get started. Let's get chit-chatting about what happens over here. People often think like, ooh, do crystals really work? Like, what are they doing? Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, I have no freaking idea. I could come at you with lots of things why I think they do and lots of examples why they've been very healing and very enjoyable and why people experience different things with crystals. The point of any spirituality or any practice is what you take away from it. And if you take something away from it, then who the hell am I to stop you? That's the biggest thing about crystals and working with crystals. So you'll probably notice that I am wearing a little tiger's eye here and a little tiger's eye bracelet. Now, personally, I feel like this is a nice little look. Still a little bit modern. I think it's still classic. It's still a nice look and it helps me feel grounded. So I tend to, as I wear them, that's my biggest kind of flex when it comes to crystals. I do have lots of little tumble crystals. Yes, I would love a gigantic like angel wings stuck at the back of me here, or even like the bookends. I don't know if anybody's seen them. You can get like I think they're called altars, and it's often like the anthracite altars where you can put on a nice bookshelf and they'll prop up your bookshelf. Or, I mean, I would go all out. I would have like a rose quartz sink or an anthracite kitchen top. I mean, I would do all them things. Don't get me wrong. I don't currently do them things. I just tend to wear them or have little ones. I've got some here. I just tend to have like the little tumble ones where you can put them in your hand, pop them in your pocket, you know, do whatever you feel you need to. But what I tend to do is I ask myself what I need. So on a morning when I'm getting dressed, I don't think it's any different really to any other accessory. Like, oh, what would look nice? How do I feel? Like when you're putting on a necklace or your earrings, you're kind of like, oh, I'm going to go with the big earrings because I'm feeling fun and I'm feeling energetic. Or actually, I want to go for a classic look. I'll just put on the diamond earrings. Like, it's the same type of thing when you wear crystals. You're just asking what you need from that day. That's how I like to work with it. So I have this cutest little set that Oliver gave me, and it's a necklace, and it's like a little locket, and you put in the crystal you want. So there's I've got 4 different types of crystals. You can get lots more, and it just depends on what I need. So rose quartz is a very popular one. It's very much about love and clarity and peace and all them things. So if I'm feeling like that, then I'll put that one on. The tiger's eye, often strength and courage. So sometimes if you feel like you need a little bit more of that for that day, then I will pop that on. Today, if I'm being honest, I just thought it looked quite nice with my turtleneck. So in my opinion, it's more about the intention you give that crystal. So say for instance, I've got this beautiful little crystal here. I actually think this may be Oliver's. This is lovely. I just find it very tactile. I have no idea. I want to say it's blue lace. I think that's what you call it. I have no idea. It doesn't really matter what it means. To me, it's very tactile. And if I wanted to kind of touch it and hold it. And also I've got one here that Oliver got me. Again, this one, if I was spending the day and I wanted to think about Oliver, maybe I'd pop this in my pocket. It just depends on what you give it. I hope that's kind of explaining what I mean about crystals and how I use it, because that's kind of my interpretation of them. Like I said, I'm not an expert. I'm just explaining to you on how I've enjoyed using them. So although I like to wear them, I know a lot of people do like to pop them in their pocket. Or I have a friend who, I won't tell you who or disclose who, does often carry a tiny little angel in her bra if she needs a little bit of extra power. So it depends, you know, so if you've got something that gives you strength, or do it like that. And it's you intentionally looking at your crystals and going, okay, this is what I want from the day. I'm going to keep it close to me. This is what I need from this experience. And it just keeps you grounded. So I've had crystals on my desk at work where I'm going into a meeting and I'm like, I need to just stay calm. So I'll take in a blue crystal because that makes me feel very calm and grounded. And every time I see it on my desk, I'm like, it's just that little reminder to myself that that's what I need to do. I can compose myself. I can articulate myself in a way that I want to. I'm staying calm, cool and collective. And that's kind of what you're doing. So it can be anything. You can set your intention for anything. You can set your intention on different crystals for every time you use it. That's absolutely fine. It's just more of a pull and a grounding kind of practice that allows you to kind of just it kind of reminds your brain of what you've set that intention for. I guess as well that moves swiftly on to cleansing and charging them. So crystals are very much all the crystal experts say this, don't worry, not just me. All the crystal experts will tell you that you need to charge your crystals. It's basically like a phone. You don't expect to just keep using it and using it and using it and it's going to work forever. You've got to charge it, intentionally charge it. Now, there's lots of different ways to do that. Sunlight, moonlight, water, etc., etc. I avoid water. Only because some crystals are not supposed to go in water and I just don't want to risk it. I just like to do all of mine in one sweep and I tend to put it out on a full moon. So not every full moon, just when I remember or I feel like I need a good charging session. and I'll lay all my crystals outside, or you can often put them on the windowsill as well. That's kind of useful if you don't want them to get wet or there's nowhere safe to put them. Lay them on your windowsill, let the moonlight charge them all up, and then in the morning you can work with the ones you want, knowing that they're fully charged. They can have any intention. That's pretty much how I like to do it. I also have a charging bowl. So this is a selenite charging bowl. So this is part of the moon. I think that's it, it's part of the moon. So you can put your crystals in here. So I really do like to do this, particularly with my necklaces, because they take on so much energy. So if I'm asking them to give me courage and strength, and they do that, they're going to take on any negative energy. They're also going to take on anybody else's energy. So it's really useful to just pop them in there on the night time, and then if you're going to use them the day after, they're ready to go. They're all charged up. It's basically like charging your phone. You can get these in wands as well. Like there's some really nice wands that you can rate. You can also charge your crystals with sound. So you can use a crystal singing bowl, or you can sage them. Again, like I say, I keep it simple. I just charge them with the moon. That seems to be my kind of ritual. The moon reminds me, when it's the full moon, I think, okay, it's probably a good time to charge my crystals, and I get on and charge them. But like I said, you can use any of them tools. That's what the experts say anyway. I tend to keep mine all over. I tend to just have them in random little places. I have some quartz in the bathroom. I have selenite, which is bits of selenite actually in a crystal. This was a gift from Oliver and Chris. So I think that kind of just have them around the house. You can have them anywhere, in the car. Oliver has his whole collection of his own. Oliver loves crystals. So I really encourage all the children around me to have crystals, because it's just that pull, it's just that grounding, it's that intentional grounding. Let's be fair, everybody would benefit from having. So why not get the kids into it early? Why not have them kind of explore them now? Oliver loves collecting all the little tiny ones. So he's got apples, he's got Star Wars, he's got a mushroom, he's got a pig, he's got, you name it, he likes to collect them. He also wears them as well. He's got some tiny little crystal bracelets. So I love that Oliver's kind of getting into his crystals and getting into opening his mind to maybe something out there that is bigger than us. Who knows? Just having an open mind, and approaching life with kind of openness, and approaching life with an open mind. Eyes wide open, mind wide open, and I think crystals kind of do that. I also really think it's a nice talking point. If I see somebody with crystals, it feels like a little bit of a like, oh, this is my person. It's kind of like wearing a badge, like, hey, over here, I'm spiritual. I'll talk about the witchy woo with you. And I always gravitate to them people because I'm like, oh, they've got nice crystals. So I always feel like it's kind of that nice little indicator of, it's just a high vibrational, it's a grounding, high vibrational item where you can carry with you or work with you. And they're very pretty. I'm just gonna put it out there. They're super pretty. Some less than others, and everybody has their own take on what a crystal is. And even though I think when people go to buy crystals, they often like, oh, which one should I start with? What should I buy? You've got to go with your feeling. You've got to just literally step into a crystal shop. Again, the experts say what speaks to you, and you'll know what we mean when you say that. When you get into the shop, you'll understand what it means by when it speaks to you. You'll start touching them, you'll start looking at them, and you'll be drawn to certain ones. And that's your crystal. Just go with it. Go with the flow. And I do have books. I have 2 lovely crystal books. Of course I have books. You didn't think you were going to get a video without books, did you? I'll fool you. So the first book, obviously Chris and Oliver bought me this. Chris and Oliver do buy me the best presents. And this book I really, really like, simply because it's got the coolest little, I don't know if you can see. Oh, there we go. Can you see the different colours? So if you pick up a blue crystal, you go to the blue section. Yeah, okay, it does have an index on the back, but if you don't know what the name of the crystal is and you pick up a blue crystal, you can look in the blue section. And then if I get to the blue section, you can start looking through to see which one you are. So then you can kind of have a little look about the information. And it does normally tell you something that will feel empowering, or you'll feel like, oh, this is a sign. But it also really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, because again, you will give it its own. So it may say something like communication, and that could be anything. That could be communication with a spouse. It could be how to communicate better at work because you're in sales and you need to make better sales calls. You will know what it means. You just have to be intuitive and you just have to listen. So I would definitely recommend this book. I will, of course, link below, because I'm a bloody expert at linking books. And then this book Oliver got me because he saw it and thought of me. And this is like coffee table, like bougie. It's a beautiful book. Not quite as practical as this one, I would say, because this one's just really easy to pick up. But this one's just like really beautiful. I should really put it on the coffee table, shouldn't I? So that anybody who comes in can look. So yeah, that's my book recommendations if you wanted to learn a little bit more about crystals. I've kind of touched on going into a store and buying crystals. And I do think that's really useful because, one, you know what you're buying with a local independent shop. You're pretty much guaranteed that everything in there is going to be authentic, and you don't have to worry about if you're getting any fakes or anything like that. And the experience is beautiful, as we've already discovered. I would highly recommend going and finding a local shop and just surround yourself with crystals. Once you start getting used to them, I think it's easier to buy online, because I think that way you may know what you're looking for, so you can search up easier, and I think you can just you're a little bit more experienced. So as I've mentioned, Psychic Sisters, I think they're beautiful, and again, they're really good for beginners as well, because it's quite simple and it's not too overwhelming. I think sometimes if you go on these crystal shops and you don't know anything about them, it's very overwhelming. Those are awful lot of crystals, and you don't know where to start. So I think Psychic Sisters is probably a really good starting point for any beginners. I got like a little tube, and they were like tumble crystals, and it was just, I think it was like, there was different categories like love, health, money, I can't remember. And you just bought them, and they were lovely. So I think, that is a good place to start. A local shop. Also, I'm going to recommend Canny Crystal. He sells crystals, so he's called Mark Tweed. So he sells crystals online at Canny Crystal. So I have bought some crystals off him before, but he also has a book, ta-da! Which is all about manifesting and whatnot. But this book I really enjoyed. It was really simple in terms of not just crystals, just in general, like spirituality and manifesting and law of attraction. But of course, he does have a section in here about crystals. And I did learn a lot from him because, well, one, he's an expert in crystals. But two, like just little things like try not to let people touch your crystals because they're going to have their energy on it. Just generally like maintaining your crystals, which was a bit of a friendly reminder because it's so easy to have crystals and just leave them on the shelf and not actually do anything with them and have them look pretty. But the more you can work with them, the more they're going to give back to you. So I do really encourage people to, if you've got them, work with your crystals, play with them, see what you can get out of your crystals. And he really did encourage that in this book. So it was a good reminder for me. I needed to hear that from him for sure. So there's just one last thing I want to talk about. And that is what happens if you lose your crystal or you break your crystal, because that happened to me. So one of the two sets that I originally got back in 2020 from Psychic Sister was a wand. They called them a wand, and it was very similar to this, but it was, the one that broke was a smoke quartz crystal. And I'd worked with it for a while, and these are really nice because, again, really tactile, and because they've kind of got the, not sharp edges, but they've got edges, you can they just kind of feel a little bit different to the smooth ones. So you can kind of play with them a lot. So I think I played with mine quite a lot. And because it was one of my first crystals, it done with me. Our time had come and it broke. And I found that quite overwhelming. I was like, oh my God, what does that mean? Like, oh my goodness, my crystal's broken. What does that mean? Like, it felt quite scary actually. So, as you do after a little bit of Googling, it actually meant that it was just our time was done together, and it was time for me to release that and move on, and that was okay. And life's like that, isn't it? Sometimes things come to an end. In fact, everything always comes to an end, and we put a lot of pressure on, like, oh, we don't want it to end, we don't want it to end. But things end, life ends, without getting too deep. It's the only thing that we're kind of guaranteed, that these things come to an end. And it's a really kind of a good reminder that enjoy it while we've got it, and it's okay for things to come and go into our lives, and release things. So if you lose a crystal or you break a crystal, it ain't the end of the world, which I genuinely thought it was at one point. But what I did do was I released it into some running water to Oliver's. Oliver was not so happy about me this whole releasing project, because that meant I made him walk. I think it must have been COVID again, or still. I can't remember, but basically I made him walk like 2 miles to the river so we could release it into the river, thank it, and move it on. Because it was running water, probably could have gone somewhere nearer. But if you ask Oliver about my crystal release, he will remember that, probably remember it for a long time, as his weird, eccentric, witchy-woo mum making him do some weird crystal stuff. But hey ho, we live and we learn, don't we? So, I said that was the last thing, but do you know what I haven't done? I haven't spoken about Moldavite, and I've got to tell you about Moldavite. So again, in necklace form, I have Moldavite. Now, Moldavite is the most powerful crystal there is, and some people are terrified of Moldavite. I may be some of them people. It's powerful. It's so powerful. It accelerates anything, any of your goals, any of your desires. So when you work with Moldavite, you have to be prepared that this baby moves quickly. If you are setting an intention to leave your current job and move on to something better, expect a redundancy. If you are looking at, I don't know, things being better at home, maybe a divorce is on the cards, I don't know, it accelerates things really quickly. And so that's why people are often terrified to use this, because you have to be prepared that when you work with Moldavite, it's a beautiful crystal. There is no reason to be frightened of it, but you have to really want something. If it isn't a full body yes, don't bother working with this, because it will fuck shit up. Like, it's just well known to fuck shit up. So Moldavite, it's green. It's kind of, I don't mean to be rude to Moldavite, but it's kind of ugly. But it's a powerful baby, which is probably why it's not such a cutesy like rose quartz, where you just want to work with it all the time and everybody gravitates to it. You've got to be, I wouldn't suggest Moldavite being your first crystal you ever work with. It may put you off for life. But I would suggest, once you're a little bit of a pro, get some Moldavite. It's very expensive as well, actually. A piece like that is probably, I don't know, £70, maybe more. So it's quite expensive to work with. So it's not a beginner's crystal, it's kind of an experienced crystal. I know of some people that have had to bury Moldavite because it's just been too powerful for them, so they just wanted to release it into the earth. So as I talked about releasing it into running water, you can also release it into the ground. So that's pretty much it. I hope I've kind of inspired you to work with crystals. If some of you have got some interest in crystals but you don't know what to do with it, just go with it. Start the journey. Start just kind of working with it, setting their intentions. And that's why I always think jewelry is such a good place to start. I'd recommend you buy something like this, a bracelet that you can wear, but maybe not in tiger's eye. Maybe go for something in rose quartz. I'm actually inspiring myself here now. I'm actually influencing myself right now. I'm instantly going over to buy one of them. But start with something like that and just pop it on. Set your intention for what you want it to be. If it's finding love, if it's finding a new career, if it's being happier, having a healthier body, bringing in the money, whatever it is, set that intention and just start working with it and see if anything changes and let me know. If anything does change, I would love to hear from you. Comment down below and let me know. Anyway, thanks guys, thanks for listening. Love chatting. See you next time.